So I've decided to make this video because I get a lot of questions from different people about programming, software development, web development, mobile application development, and all the rest. So I created this channel so I can make a video on how to develop web applications from the beginning to the end. And then, yeah, if you follow my channel and if you follow this tutorial series, you're gonna be a full stack web developer. So this application, I'm gonna be building an application that has the features of Airbnb, Uber, and Booking.com. So I'm gonna be using Django web framework to develop the backend. I'll use SQL, maybe MySQL or Postgres for the database. And then I'm gonna use HTML, CSS, JavaScript for the front end. So for JavaScript, I'm gonna use vanilla JavaScript, which is pure JavaScript. And then I'm also gonna use jQuery, which is a JavaScript framework. So yeah, these are the technologies I'm gonna be using, and I'm gonna include other stuff like Ajax programming, Bootstrap, and some other frameworks and libraries. So it's gonna be a robust application, and I'm gonna host it on AWS and Python anywhere. So you'll be able to know how to deploy web applications on two platforms. So after building this application, you can have it in your portfolio, and then you can apply for a job. You can apply for a backend developer's role. You can apply for front-end developer role. You can also apply for full stack developer role if you want. Then you can also become a freelancer. At the end of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to register on upwork.com or freelancer.com and work when you want to work, earn the amount of money you want, and just have a better career for yourself. So now this tutorial is gonna be beginner friendly. So it doesn't matter if you have prior experience in programming or not, and it doesn't also matter if you already know programming. It's gonna be from beginner to advanced stage. So uh, today I'm just gonna give a brief introduction of what programming languages are, and I'm gonna give introduction of what all the tools that I'm going to use in developing this robust application. So if you're already a developer, then you can skip this introductory aspect of it. I'm making this introductory aspect of it because of people that are complete novice, or people that are coming from other fields that are not coming from a computer background field. You get, so you can skip this introduction because this is gonna be more or less like just an audio. I'm just gonna give just theory, no practicals, because it is important for you to really understand the technologies that you're using and what programming language is before we start the practical. You can't just jump into something without learning the basics. So this series one is just all about talking. And if you have any confusion, you can just ask me. You can send me an email. You can drop a comment on the video, or if you have my number, you can also chat me up, and then I'm gonna respond to you. So first and foremost, um, this is computer programming that we're gonna be doing. So let me just explain what computer programming is. I didn't make any note for it, so my tutorial on this is not gonna be like flawless or very robust. It's just like a crash course on what programming language is. Maybe when you finish listening to my video audio, you can make research, Google some of the things that I've said, and then expand your knowledge more on it before I'll make the next series. So I'm gonna be posting videos once every 4 days or once every 3 days. So in the meantime, you can read more about the things that I'm gonna teach you for today. and then our next lectures is gonna be practicals. So computer programming is a process of designing, writing, testing, and maintaining code that instructs a computer to perform a specific task. So it's very self-explanatory. Computer programming is a language, is a programming is the language of the computer. You can't tell computer, please, design me a website or design me a mobile application. Computer is not going to understand English. So all the instruction that you give to computer through programming language are translated in zeros and ones. So we use computer programming language to interact with the computer and to give commands to the computer. Now, we have different spoken languages such as English language, French, German, Russian, Italian, Spanish, and all the rest. That is how we also have different languages in computer programming. We have Python, we have C++, we have C, we have Java, we have C Sharp, we have Kotlin, and so on and so forth. Now, this project that we're going to be building, we're going to be building it with Python and JavaScript. These two languages are the most in-demand and the most versatile programming language in the world currently. So, yeah, as a developer, now eh, you can decide to use whatever language you want, for your backend development. But when it comes to JavaScript, JavaScript is like a universal language. You can't develop a fully functional and a fully dynamic web application without using JavaScript to some extent. So when I started out my programming journey, I was like, okay, I love Java, I love C Sharp, I don't want JavaScript. Don't be confused. Java is different from JavaScript. So I said I don't want JavaScript, so I'm not gonna be learning JavaScript. And yeah, I could do a lot of things with the languages that I know. If I want to build a web application, or a mobile app with C Sharp, I can use uh, if I want to build a web application or a mobile application, I can use C Sharp alone or I can use Java alone. But as time went by, I discovered that, you know, incorporating JavaScript into my development makes my application more dynamic. It makes it more robust. It makes me use fewer codes, fewer pages, and all that. So, as a full stack developer, you really cannot completely do without JavaScript. And that is why, even if this application we're going to be building will be based on Python, we will also incorporate JavaScript when necessary. So, back to what programming languages are, I've already explained to you that we use computer programming language to give the computer instructions on what to do. And there are certain things, certain activities involved in programming. So programming is not just taking up your computer to start writing code. No, it involves writing codes. It involves designing of algorithms. It involves debugging, testing, and maintenance. So there are some developers also documentation. So as a developer, sometimes you can be employed as a tester. Sometimes your job could be just to debug, and sometimes your job could involve all these six activities I've mentioned. So computer programming involves writing code, designing of algorithm, debugging. Debugging is the act of looking for errors in your code. Testing to make sure that it meets the specification that is set out. Maintaining the application that is built, and documenting it. So, as I said earlier, there are a lot of programming languages. We have Python, which is known for its readability, its versatility, and It's also beginner friendly. So Python is very versatile. You can use it to build web applications, mobile applications, desktop application with PyQt and PySide. You can use it for analytics, data science, machine learning, and so on and so forth. We have JavaScript. JavaScript is like the language of the web. Like I said before, you really cannot build a fully robust and functional web application or website without using JavaScript. We also have Java, which is popular in building large-scale enterprise application. Java can be used in building Android applications, and it can also be used in building server-side applications. We have C++, which is mostly used in developing system softwares, game application, that requires high performance, embedded systems and all the rest. We have Ruby on Rails, we have C Sharp, and a whole lot of languages. Now, we also have scripting languages such as HTML, CSS. Yeah, so HTML and CSS, they are not real programming language. They are referred to as scripting language. So no matter the language that you're using to build your web application, for example, you want to use Java to build the backend of your web application, you must use HTML and CSS for the front end. So the front end is the look and feel. What you are seeing when you open a website or a web application, the interface you see is a front end, is built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you know. So if you are using Java for the back end, you must use HTML and CSS for the front end. If you are using Python, you also have to use HTML and CSS. If you are using Ruby on Rails, you have to use HTML and CSS for your front end. Do you understand? So now, what can you do with programming? You can build web applications with programming language. You can build websites with programming language. You can build mobile applications. You can build games. You can build data science, use it for machine learning, to analyze data, creation of predictive models, and all the rest. You can use programming languages for automation. You can also use them for embedded systems. So why do you have to learn programming languages? Number one, as a developer, or programming language will help you in your problem solving skills. So programming language would enhance your logical thinking and your problem solving abilities. That is one. Number two, for career opportunities, as you know, the IT sector is one of the most in demand and the most high paying sectors. Now, as a programmer, you can decide to be a freelancer. You work for yourself. You can register on freelance sites, good freelance sites such as freelancer.com and upwork.com, where you can be hired by companies and by individuals, and then you accept only jobs that you can do, or the jobs that, yeah, if the money is right, the timing is right, everything is right for you, you can bid for the job and you do the job and get paid. You can also decide to work for an organization as a developer. So it gives you good career opportunities. And one of the reasons why I'm making this tutorial is for some of my friends and some people that wants to change their career. So with programming language as well, you can also be innovative. So programming allows you to create new softwares, applications, and technology that can solve problems for you. Maybe you have an organization and you want to build, an inventory management system for your organization. You can do that as a developer. And lastly, programming languages also enable you understand technology. So yeah, now, like I said before, in this for this application that we are going to be building, is we are going to focus on Python. We are going to use Python primarily, and then we're also going to incorporate other languages and other tools and frameworks. So I'm just going to talk quickly on what Python programming language is. Now, Python programming refers to the practice of writing computer programs using the Python programming language. So just the way English is a spoken language, French is also a spoken language, but they differ. They are not the same. So the syntax of Python is different from another programming language such as Java, Ruby on Rails, C++, C. So Python is known for its simplicity. Python is simple. It's almost like pure English. Python is readable. Python is versatile. I think I know definitely that Python is the most versatile programming language in the world currently. It is the most versatile because I use Python to develop websites, web applications, mobile applications, desktop application, data science, analytics, embedded system, machine learning, and just about automation and just about anything you can think of. Python may not be very strong in developing mobile application. It doesn't have a very strong framework for mobile application development, but in other areas it really excels. So Python is beginner friendly. It's good for experienced programmers. It is very versatile and and all the way. So the key features of Python is readable language, is an interpreted language. So Python is in an interpreted language, meaning it executes code line by line, which makes debugging easier. So you don't need to compile all your Python codes before running it. So yeah, now, excuse me. Now, Python is also a dynamic typing language. So Python handles data types dynamically, which means that you don't need to declare the data type of a variable explicitly. For example, now if I want to use an integer variable, I don't need to start saying int a equals 5. Do you understand? I can just pass a variable without declaring the data type, and Python will automatically, know that this value is an integer. Now, Python have extensive standard libraries, and that is one of the beauty about Python. You will find just about any library that you want in Python. Whatever you want to do, there's already a library for it in Python. So Python has a rich standard library that provides modules and functions for various tasks, which can dramatically reduce the number of codes that you need to write from scratch. And we also have what we call Cython, and so programmers use Cython to develop libraries. They use C language and C++ language to develop libraries for Python. Now, Python also have huge community and ecosystem. What does it mean? It means if you have any problem in Python, there is the tendency that someone all has also had that problem and someone else have provided the solution for that problem. So you go to Stack Overflow, you go to Google or other programming platforms, you can easily see solutions to your problems because Python has huge community and ecosystem of developers. Now, what can you do with Python? You can use Python for web development. You can use Python for data science and machine learning. And when it comes to data science and machine learning, Python is undoubtedly the number one. It has libraries such as NumPy, Pandas, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and a lot more. You can use Python for automation and scripting. You can use Python for software development. You can use it to develop games, mobile applications, desktop applications with PyQt, PySide, Kiwi, and all the rest. You can use Python for scientific computing. You can use it for visualization. You can use it for DevOps and cloud computing. So Python is very, very vast. And by the end of our tutorial, you will not only know how to build this application I mentioned. Like I said, we're gonna be building an application that combines the functionalities of Airbnb, Booking.com, and Uber. So this is a very big and robust application we're gonna be building. I'm gonna be building it from scratch. And after you finish building this application, you can build just about any type of web application or websites that you want. Now, Python have various frameworks that can enable you build these applications. We have Django, Flags, PyQt, Tkinter, and so on and so forth. But for this application, we're gonna be using Django, which is a heavyweight Python web framework. It has stood the test of time. I think it's one of the oldest Python web framework, and it's among the top web frameworks in the world. So aside from Django and Python, other languages can also has their own frameworks that you can use in building web application and websites, such as we have MainStack. MainStack is React, Node.js, Express, yeah, combination of React, Node.js, and Express and MongoDB. So we have ASP.NET, we have JSP, Java Server Pages, we have Laravel, and other top frameworks. But Django is among the top three frameworks in the world, and Django is built on Python. So Python programming language is an essential skill for modern developers due to its versatility, its ease of use, extensive ecosystem. Whether you are interested in web development, data science, automation, mobile application development, or any other field, Python provides the tools and the languages that you need to develop whatever you want to build. Now, like I said earlier, we're going to be using Django framework, which is built on Python to develop our web application. And a framework is a fundamental structure or a set of tools that provides you a standard way to build and deploy web applications. So frameworks are designed to simplify the development process by providing you pre-built components, library, and best practices. They help developers avoid reinventing the wheel by offering you reusable code and functionalities for common tasks. So, for example, I have a remote job in the US. I have another remote job in Estonia. How am I able to work with other developers? One of the tools that enables us work together and unify our code is because we use framework. Because every developer in our team doesn't need to do things in their own way. Because we are using Django framework, it specifies a particular pattern that we need to write our code, a particular pattern that we need to deploy our code. So when my colleagues write their codes, I write my codes, it is easy for us to merge our codes and deploy it. And that is one of the reasons why we're going to be using Django Web Framework to build this web application. Now, Django Web Framework or frameworks generally, they provide reusable code, they provide standardization, so they establish a standard way to organize and structure your code, which helps maintain consistency across projects and make it easy for developers to collaborate. They make development of application efficient. So frameworks will streamline the development process by automating repetitive tasks and providing tools that speed up development, testing, and deployment. It also provides best practices, for developers, and most of the top framework also have community support. So if you have any issues, you have Django community that you can easily find solution for your problems. Now, examples of frameworks, as I mentioned before, include Django. Django is built in Python. We have Flask, which is also built in Python, but Flask is a micro framework, while Django is a high-level web framework. We have Ruby on Rails framework. We have Laravel, which runs on PHP. We have Express.js, which runs on Node.js. We have React. React is a front-end framework. The previous ones I mentioned, Express, Laravel, ASP, JSP, Django, Ruby on Rails, Flask, they are back-end frameworks. Then we have front-end frameworks such as React, Angular, Vue.js, Flutter, and all the rest. So what are the some of the benefits of using frameworks? I've already mentioned it before, but it also have other benefits such as speed, make you develop application faster, security, scalability, maintainability, community, and ecosystem. So in conclusion, a programming framework such as Django is an essential tool for developers, providing a robust and efficient foundation for building web applications. Not just web applications, because we also have frameworks for mobile application development. We have framework for desktop application development, for analytics, automation, or scientific computing, or whatever you can name. So Django is a high-level open source web framework written in Python that encourages rapid development, clean and pragmatic design. It follows the model template view architectural pattern MVC. You wouldn't understand this until we get to the practical. So with Django, you build your model, you create your template, and then you connect it together. Now, what are the key features of Django? Django is it has what we call object relational mapping (ORM). So ORM comes with a powerful system whereby databases built with SQL can interact with Python. So you really don't need to write pure SQL codes or SQL syntax with Python. But if that is what you want, you can also do it that way, or you can use the Django ORM feature to create your database. Django has automatic admin interface. It is secured, it is scalable, it is versatile and extensible. It also has template system, URL routing, form handling, built-in testing, and so on and so forth. So some of these features, you wouldn't really understand it until we get to the practicals. You'll see how it works. So we're gonna be using Django and Python for the backend development of our application, like I said before, and we'll use HTML, CSS, JavaScript for our front end. So now let me just give you a brief intro of what HTML and CSS are. So our front end will be built with HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a CSS framework, which is also gonna give us pre-built CSS components that can make our development faster and easier. So HTML stands for hypertext markup language. Like I said earlier, HTML is not a pure programming language, but it's termed as a scripting language. So HTML is a standard markup language used to create and structure content on the web. So your look and feel when you go to a website or a web application, a mobile application, the look and feel is built with HTML and CSS. So it provides the basic frameworks of a web page, which is then enhanced and modified by CSS and JavaScript. So HTML provides a structure. CSS is known as stands for cascading style sheets. You use it to beautify your web application or your website. the color, sizing, and some other styling is done by CSS, and JavaScript will bring that dynamism to your web page. You use it for animation, flash, you use it for DOM manipulation, and so on and so forth. So, like I said earlier, CSS is a cascading style sheet, and it is used to describe the presentation of a document written in HTML. It controls layout, colors, fonts, and overall appearance of your web page. Now, well, Bootstrap is also a CSS framework that we're gonna be using. It's very popular web framework for developing responsive mobile-first web pages. So Bootstrap incorporates HTML, CSS, and JavaScript components that can help you create modern and visually appealing websites. Bootstrap have great system. It has components. It has utilities and so on and so forth. So together with HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and JavaScript, we're gonna build our front end, and then we're gonna use Django and Python to build our back end, and we're gonna use SQL to build our database. For this application, we're gonna be using Postgres, and I'm also gonna show you how to use MySQL to build your database as well. Then for JavaScript, we're gonna use vanilla JavaScript, which is pure JavaScript, and we're also gonna use jQuery, which is a framework in JavaScript. So when necessary for our DOM manipulation, we're gonna use vanilla JS because it's faster. It doesn't require any plugin. It doesn't require any extension or whatever. You just write pure vanilla JavaScript code for your DOM manipulation. And sometimes when maybe the what we want to execute, the codes are too lengthy for vanilla JavaScript, we're gonna use jQuery. We're also gonna implement Ajax programming. So you're gonna learn a whole lot of technologies. And like I said, at the end of this tutorial, you can be a freelancer, you work for yourself, or you can start applying for a junior developer role, and then you can switch to the IT career that you've dreamt of, and so my next video is gonna be practical, where we're gonna start building the application from scratch. So, and in the coming days, maybe tomorrow or next tomorrow, I'm gonna post a new video on how we gonna install Django, how we're gonna install Python on our system, import all the libraries we want, and start building our application. If you have any question or any concern, just drop a comment and I'm gonna respond to you. Thank you very much and see you later. Bye bye.